is Valley News Live at 4.
New information on an alleged scammer targeting local restaurants and bars. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us on this Friday. 2 more restaurants have come forward after they say they were swindled by a man with a scheme involving spilled wine and a fake receipt. It's a story we first told you about on Wednesday when 4 downtown bars and restaurants said they were recently hit by the spilled wine scammer. That man claims a server spilled wine on his wife's dress and shows a dry cleaning receipt saying the business needs to reimburse him. Dempsey, Side Street, Metzaluna, and the Radisson were all hit within the last week. None of them gave the man money. Now, staff at both the Tavern on 32nd Avenue South and Wild Bill's on 45th Street say the same man tried to pull the stunt there. Both restaurants tell us they gave the man $40. Of the 6 incidents so far, none have been reported to police. A 24-year-old was arrested this morning in connection to vandalism at least 6 downtown Fargo businesses. Marshall Slater is charged with a felony count of criminal mischief. Police say he threw bricks and rocks through the windows of Salon Duo, Nicole's Fine Pastry, and Rhombus Guys, among several other businesses. The damage estimate is close to $10,000. 25-year-old Cornell Kreider has been arrested on several charges after Fargo police say he drove drunk in a stolen car last night. Police were called to the former Toys R Us parking lot off 13th Avenue. The caller said he was looking into vehicles and tried to open a couple doors. Officers found him about a mile away and took him into custody. He faces charges of possession of a stolen vehicle and driving under the influence. Now here's Hutch with the first look at your all-important holiday weekend forecast. Hutch?
Thanks so much, Stacy. As we close out our work week, we do have passing clouds overhead, but the buckets of rain have moved on as our Skycam shows that we do have a few clouds right now passing over the Devil's Lake area. Here is a look at that all-important forecast that, well, you might want to know about as you're heading into the holiday weekend. We are anticipating that our Saturday will end up pretty cool, but pretty quiet. We warm up a little bit more as we'll see the mid-70s in many locations. Cannot rule out a morning sprinkle, and northwest Minnesota will be the best chance at maybe one afternoon sprinkle or two as well on your Saturday. Sunday, mostly sunny skies as high pressure moves in, but it will cool off just a pinch. We'll have a lot of 60s out there in the north and for our central Minnesota counties as well. And the key day of the weekend, Labor Day itself on Monday, 82 degrees in Fargo, so we'll see a few 80s, a lot of upper 70s out there. A little bit more wind and a few clouds in the forecast for your day as well. Tonight we're watching showers out to the west of us. A couple of us may deal with these very late tonight, mainly in our western counties and Fargo. If we see anything, it won't be until the overnight hours in the form of a sprinkle as we cool into the 50s. Hour by hour details in your forecast coming up here in just a few minutes.
All right. Thanks so much, Hutch. The remnants of Ida have left more than 40 people dead across the Northeast. The storm tore through towns with powerful floods and tornadoes, triggering hundreds of rescues, as Maria Villarreal reports in Louisiana, where Ida first made landfall as a Category 4 hurricane. An investigation is now underway into the deaths of at least 4 nursing home residents who were taken to a makeshift shelter.
Across the Northeast, first responders rescued people in danger from rising tides and powerful floods. In New Jersey, this police officer saved a man stuck in his submerged car. Boats went house to house in Delaware and Pennsylvania to save stranded residents. In Edgewater, Maryland, Eduardo Aguirre was pressure washing his roof Wednesday and had to hold onto a chimney as a tornado went by. I thought I was going to die, he said. In Louisiana, where Ida tore through as a Category 4 hurricane, an investigation is underway after several nursing home patients were relocated to a makeshift shelter at a warehouse and died.
Of course they should be held accountable. Everyone that was here that didn't help the people that needed help.
We're going to do a full investigation into whether these facilities, the owner of the facilities, failed to keep residents safe.
About those nursing home patients, we did reach out to the owner of the facility, Bob Dean, but he did not immediately respond or give us comment. But he did have a statement to our local CBS affiliate in Baton Rouge, WAFB, saying we only had 5 deaths within the 6 days. And normally with 850 people, you'll have a couple a day. So we did really good with taking care of our people. Across the state, recovery efforts are entering another day, and patience is wearing thin in areas like Killian, Louisiana.
If we don't get MREs, water, diapers, commodities, just anything to help these citizens that, it's going to be a very tough time.
With hundreds of thousands still without power and other critical supplies, the governor is urging everyone to remain calm. Mireya Villarreal, CBS News, New Orleans.
President Biden traveled to the Gulf Coast to meet with local leaders and survey the damage. He's making the case for a massive infrastructure overhaul as crews race to restore the power grid and residents dig out from the damage. The president is calling it all further evidence of climate change.
Things have changed and so drastically in terms of the environment. We've already crossed certain thresholds. We can't build back a road, a highway, a bridge, or anything to what it was before. I mean, you've got to build back to what it is now.
The president has also approved federal disaster declarations for states hit hard by Hurricane Ida, including Louisiana, Mississippi, New York, and New Jersey. Essentia doctors now reaching out to schools encouraging masking. They sent a letter to school leaders yesterday sharing concerns about COVID outbreaks. They write the Delta variant has the capacity to make children very sick, pointing to southern states where roughly 2% of hospitalizations are now among children. The doctors address the controversy surrounding masks, admitting the science behind masking is, quote, quite immature, but saying they still believe in the efficacy of cloth masks. Visitors no longer allowed at the North Dakota State Hospital in Jamestown because of a surge in COVID cases. The hospital will continue to assess the risk to patients and staff for COVID transmission. Anything brought to a patient can be dropped off at the main entrance. Patients and staff will have temperature checks and health screenings, and masks are required. Heading into Labor Day weekend, gas prices in Fargo just under $3 per gallon. Despite Hurricane Ida, experts aren't expecting a huge increase anytime soon.
We're not anticipating any movement, maybe a nickel or a dime because of local outages in a few areas, shortages, but in general, the refining capacity did not drop like it did in 2005 when Katrina hit.
The price of gas in some parts of the state is actually down almost 20 cents from a month ago. In 2005, gas prices in North Dakota increased 25 cents per gallon after Hurricane Katrina. The severity of the surge can be clearly seen in America's hospitals, where the average number of COVID patients is the highest it's been since last winter. The danger of complicating decisions about whether to travel this Labor Day weekend. Earlier this week, the CDC advised those who are unvaccinated to avoid it. Errol Barnett spoke to travelers, weighing the odds.
The barbecues and beach trips that typically wrap up the summer just might be busted this year.
If you are unvaccinated, we would recommend not traveling.
That was the moment this week when CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky urged the unvaccinated to stay home and the rest of us to reconsider.
People need to take these risks into their own consideration as they think about traveling.
We were going to do a desert sunrise yoga Zoom.
Guided self-care coach Jenka Gafinkel, who is vaccinated, just canceled her Joshua Tree, California plans after her own recalculation. Her friend asked,
"Are you going to feel comfortable if you go?" And when I really thought about that, my answer was no.
Plenty of Americans agree. This holiday weekend, none of the major airlines expect to reach pre-pandemic traffic. United forecasts a 23% drop. Meanwhile, airfare spending is down 33% this month compared to the same time in 2019.
You have a perfect storm here.
Peter Greenberg says there are multiple reasons for the declines.
About 1/3 of it is seasonal and expected. 1/3 of it is Delta. And 1/3 of it is the European Union proposing new restrictions on American travelers.
Earlier this week, the U.S. was removed from the EU's safe list, which means quarantine and testing requirements are more likely for Americans.
If you're still scared, don't go out, stay home.
Back here in the U.S., Ariana Vermillion and millions of others are sticking with their holiday travel plans.
We've been waiting for this trip for a long time, because we had to cancel last year.
While Gafinkel feels like scrapping an itinerary should come with no shame.
This is the right thing for you to do to feel safe and protect yourself and protect others.
Errol Barnett, CBS News, Washington.
As families prepare to enjoy the holiday weekend, people are reminded to be safe with campfires. Recent rain has provided some relief, but dry conditions still persist in many areas. You can see current fire restrictions in North Dakota at ndresponse.gov. The fire danger rating is issued daily. Here's a look at today's conditions and a few other things to keep in mind. Fires must be contained in fire rings if you're in a state park. Keep the fire small, never leave it unattended. Have a shovel and bucket of water nearby just in case, and allow the wood to burn completely to ash and pour water over the embers until the hissing sound stops. Long hair is an important part of Native American culture. Many Native Americans say it keeps them close to the earth, and they grow their hair in honor of their elders and ancestors. But it's a culture many don't understand. In fact, one North Dakota woman says her son was bullied for his long hair, and that inspired her to write a children's book to educate people about the culture. It's called Bear's Braid, and it's based on her son's experiences at school.
Being teased about being Indian, Native American, being called names, being told to cut his hair because he looks like a girl, asking why he has long hair.
Now, these 2 pages are Joelle's favorite part of the book. She put out a call on social media for boys with long hair to send a photo. Her publisher put all of them together into a collage and included it in the book. Bear's Braid will be officially released Tuesday, but you can pre-order now on Amazon and other retailers. A sure sign of fall: Bison football and tailgating. NDSU is taking on Albany tomorrow at the Fargo Dome. Kickoff is at 2:30, but the action, of course, starts well before then. Reserved tailgating lots open 5.5 hours before kickoff. Other lots open 5 hours before. And if you're going to the game, masks are not required, but are strongly encouraged inside the Fargo Dome. A reminder, help Valley News Live stock the shelves for the Great Plains Food Bank. Corwin Automotive is matching all gifts up to $50,000 made by September 30th. That would be enough to provide food for 300,000 meals for kids, families, and seniors struggling with hunger. We have the link to donate right on our homepage, valleynewslive.com. Some popular dating apps are taking a stand surrounding Texas's abortion law. What they're doing for some employees is still to come.
And after almost a full 24 hours of rain, we've had passing clouds, but the sprinkles are gone. 70s returning to much of eastern North Dakota, stuck in those 60s across much of Lakes Country. Your hour-by-hour forecast for tonight and the weekend ahead is coming up. Join me. Weather is next.